If you're shopping while working, eating, or even listening to this podcast, then you know and love the thrill of a deal. But are you getting the deal and cash back? Rakuten shoppers do. They get the brands they love, savings, and cash back. And you can get it too. Start getting cash back at your favorite stores like Target, Sephora, and even Expedia. Stack sales on top of cash back and feel what it's like to know you're maximizing the savings. It's easy to use, and you get your cash back sent to you through PayPal or check. The idea is simple. Stores pay Rakuten for sending them shoppers, and Rakuten shares the money with you as cash back. Download the free Rakuten app or go to Rakuten.com to start saving today. It's the most rewarding way to shop. That's Rakuten. Rakuten.com.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Thanks for hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Sharief, Ishaq in 30 minutes talking Saints. We begin hour 2 every Tuesday with Colin Jeter, former Tiger tight end with the LSU Alumni Association. Now he is in studio with us. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Tigers are back in the win column.
They are, which is a good thing. The bye after the loss is tough.
Yeah.
That's 2 weeks of kind of sour tastes. And do you feel like they got rid of it on Saturday?
I think so.
Okay.
I think we played a couple of mistakes here and there that cost us. I think the score should have been much stronger than what it was.
What do you think the coaches have to say about that? Because that's been my tone for 2 days. Like, okay, yeah, they only scored 20, but you turned it over inside the one twice, and you dropped a deep pass, and you didn't score from the one when you got first and goal at the one at the very end of the game, but you really only needed 3 points to make it 10. Like it. There are like 4 different ways to get that to 34-10, and then nobody's ticked, but they scored 20. So how do you think the players and the coaches feel about it?
I think players and coaches go into Monday reviewing it. Same thing we've talked about before. I'm sure there's one little minute detail on most of those plays that end up costing you from going from a touchdown to interception or a fumble or getting stuffed at the goal line. So it's just cleaning that up. I think coming back, getting that bye week to get healthy. Nussmeier looked healthier, getting a win coming off the bye, and then rolling into the back half of the season. I think everything's up. I just think we got to get some little minor things cleaned up.
I'm curious. You can't know this, but and we talked about it a little bit last week. But there's just so much frustration in the fan base. Do you think there's any of that at practice? Do you think there's any of that with the players? Do you think they're just fired up that they won a game and they're ready to go play another one?
I think a little bit of both. I think for someone who goes into the game and you play bad and you got to come back Monday morning and watch film, and nothing was worse than showing up to a film and you knew when a bad play was coming up and you just kind of shied away in the back corner of the meeting room.
Did Insminger get on y'all?
Oh, yes. Insminger.
He's so quiet.
Oh, no. You don't know the real Steve. Steve he would keep on the whiteboard behind him, he would mark tick marks for all of our mistakes, and we'd have to run gassers for him. So it was kind of a competition, and it became almost mutiny within the meeting room because if one tight end messed up and it kind of slid by Insminger, the other tight ends made sure it got called out. So
that's a good way to build division in the team.
Yeah, it could get real sour real quick, but it was all good fun.
He hated doing the interview that I do. I do a 3-minute interview with assistant coaches, one a week. So he had to do it once a year with me. And I would walk in and go, God, he hated talking. And I think it's funny that he would get after you all in the meeting room.
Oh, yeah. No, Steve, off the media, is the best guy, talkative guy, but he does not like media. Every time you go in, he goes, Jeter, that's why I don't read the paper. And that's his go-to every time.
And look, this is not the New York Times coming in there to break some news. I'm with the LSU Sports Radio Network. It's like, hey, Coach, how'd Trez look this week? It's not exactly the most hard-hitting interview that's ever been conducted, but I find that to be funny. How'd you feel like the run game looked? They ran for 166.
We looked better. It seems like we got slightly more creative with Sloan in the offense and those little things like we talked about, holding blocks a little bit longer. It seemed like into the bye week we maybe got some things figured out, and that made the difference. I mean, season-high rushing yard, 166. I thought Caden looked good. That's what we need. See if we can get a little bit more offensive run game going. It opens up a lot more. And we talked about there was missed opportunities, but, man, that game could have been 34-10 before you knew it.
Easy. One of the reasons LSU won the game is because they had Trez Green. He plays tight end, kind of, and they could not cover him. So what'd you think?
I don't know who can. He's a freak of nature. I feel like this is the third or fourth time we've talked about it. he is unreal. I mean, I've reached a point where you could base a whole offense about throwing him jump balls. I mean, he's going to come down with 75% of them. I mean, you can get to fourth down doing that. So he's a freak of nature. I think that's the highest yardage a tight end's had in a long time in a game.
It was his career high.
And I know he's kind of a hybrid tight end, maybe not a true Y, but man, he is so impressive. I love having him back. It seemed like he's finally healthy again. I'd love to see him slowly get out of that knee brace. I think that probably affects him somewhat, but man, he's one of a kind.
The touchdown where he just skied, like he did catch one like that kind of against Clemson, but it was like into the body a little bit. This was like full extension. And the way I termed it, I don't remember if that was Monday on this show or if that was on the post-game show. Can't remember. They all run together like that. But it looked like an eighth grader playing the fifth graders is what it looked like.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, the guy is 6'7", 6'8", whatever he is. He's got probably 40-inch arms, a 40-inch vertical. He can probably touch the rim of a basketball standing on his flat feet. So he's such a weapon for you. And the fact that he's back and healthy, man, I think that's huge for us. Like I said, if all else fails, throw it up to number 14 and let him do his thing.
Do you feel like they're going to gear the offense toward him moving forward? I mean, we couldn't have known that because he was coming off the injury. He didn't catch a ball at Ole Miss. I don't even remember how many snaps he played, but he was hurt. That certainly changed after the bye week. Do you feel like he's due for more of a workload than even you saw against Clemson?
I think so. I think he's a guy that you can truly build an offense around in the air. And what that does is not only can he make outstanding plays, but the minute a team goes to bracket him, double him up, it opens up your guys out wide. And we have so many weapons out wide that can play off of that. I mean, you saw Parker take off for the however long touchdown that was at the end of the game. There's a lot you can do. When you have a guy who brings in multiple players in coverage, it just opens up so much on the backside.
You didn't play at Vanderbilt, did you?
We did not. Yeah. We played in Nashville for a bowl game. We did not play at Vandy, though.
It is a unique environment in the Southeastern Conference because it is an incredible trip to go on. Fans want to go to Nashville. They want to go to Nashville more than they want to go to Gainesville or Starkville or Fayetteville, like they just do. And so you get a lot of visiting fans, and it's a smaller environment, and Vanderbilt doesn't have a lot of fans, and a lot of times it's like split 50-50 with fan bases. So like it's just a weird little vibe, and you go at 11 o'clock in the morning. Like, does that give you any pause?
I think the hardest part is just the early in the morning. It's just such a weird, especially with this team. I know we've played, one afternoon game against Ole Miss. When you get in such a routine of nightly games and then you come up on an away trip where you travel on a Friday, then you have to get up at, 6 in the morning to be ready for team breakfast, which is normally dinner. Now you're eating bacon and eggs before your game. You're getting to the stadium at 10 o'clock, at 9 o'clock. It gets you moving a lot earlier. I'm sure BK and the staff are going to do little things differently to kind of get the players' bodies moving earlier. But that, to me, was the hardest part. We played Syracuse my junior year, and it was a weird stadium, kind of similar. You know, they're at the Carrier Dome. It's not Vanderbilt, but it's just a different kind of crowd, and it's an early game. It just kind of throws you off just enough where we kind of sleptwalked the first half of the game. So I'm hoping BK and them kind of get them rolling early where we hit it hot and we can make this thing bring back home a win.
He'll probably field a question on this either tomorrow on the teleconference or in his post practice on Thursday. But 3 years ago, they would stop halfway on their drive and get out in the parking lot and like stretch because they were staying at like Tupelo to go to Mississippi State, and they got out and stretched. I don't know if in Nashville you probably don't have to do that because you stay somewhere close. So I'm sure they'll have something to get those guys up and moving, I would imagine.
I would think so. I think they'd have them move them early, maybe in the parking lot, in the ballroom, something to get those guys' heart rates up.
So I got to ask this question. I would have no idea. I would imagine most of the players don't even know this, but Vanderbilt's a 2.5-point favorite. Do you think the players care that Vanderbilt is favored over them?
No.
Do you think the coaches will bring it to their attention?
I doubt that. I don't think we're even allowed to talk overs and unders at the facility. Yeah. But it's one of those things. When we played, it didn't matter. We win at every game. You know, you watch film, you find ways you think you can beat the team, and I feel like as a player, that's what you're focused on. Like if we do this, and this, we'll win the game. It never came up as to us being a certain point underdog or we're going here doing that. It was just about winning the game and doing what we needed to do to win.
How much you watched Diego Pavia the last 2 years?
He's kind of fun, man. He's kind of like the new Manziel, huh? He's kind of got a little attitude.
Diet Manziel.
Yeah, I saw Johnny actually followed him to the Alabama game a week or so ago. But yeah, he's got that spark to him, and that's his team rallies around him. I think he's made a huge difference as far as the culture in Vanderbilt. He kind of has them believing they can win any game. And that's shown the past few years. They're not the same Vanderbilt they've been in years past, especially when we played them or even a couple of years ago. He's got them believing. And it's going to be one of those things, if we don't shut him down, we let him get momentum, it could be a problem. But I have faith in our defense, especially after our showing against Sellers, having him kind of scrambling for his life most of the game. If we can do that against Pavia, I think we'll be fine.
A lot of continuity on both coaching staffs, so you have tape from last year. LSU's got a lot of different personnel on defense. Vanderbilt has more of the same on offense. But do you go back and look at that game week of what they did last year? Because Vanderbilt struggled to move the ball in LSU last year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. You look back last year, kind of what you did good, what you didn't do, how they game plan against you. Obviously, they're going to do the same. They're going to look back at, as far as what they did great, what they didn't do so great, what maybe faults the game plan had, and I'm sure it's going to be a chess match of, okay, do we do what we did do, or is that what they think we're going to do? It's just a lot of back and forth. But you certainly look at last year, especially with Pavia coming back, getting 2 years of tape on him, studying him, and kind of figuring out what his weaknesses are going to be.
Here's what I've been thinking since it went final against Ole Miss. It's like, okay, they got a bye week coming up, so whatever. They got South Carolina in Tiger Stadium. It's a game you hope to win, you should win. And then you got Vanderbilt, which it's not your uncle's Vanderbilt, your dad's Vanderbilt, but if you can beat Vanderbilt, that next weekend when Texas A&M comes down, they're going to be undefeated. It's just going to be unbelievable. We got a Football Friday coming up with the Alumni Association. You'll probably have College Game Day on campus. It's just been announced a 6:30 kickoff. Like, if you can just play 3.5 good hours of football, it sets up a really good weekend the next week.
I agree. And it's really easy to think that, as a player, kind of looking ahead to the rest of the schedule, I hope we do a great job of just focusing because, we can say all this, man, how great of an environment is that going to be? We're playing A&M at night. We're 6-1. They're 7-0. You can't focus on that. You got to focus on what can we do over 3.5 hours, like you said, 4 quarters of football to beat Vanderbilt, to put ourselves in that position. I'm hoping we stay focused on this week.
I'll focus on both weeks from this chair right here because I won't be doing much on Saturday but talking into a microphone. Had a great Football Friday on Friday. Asked Russell Shepard and Brad Wing for their favorite moments of the 11 season, and they both mentioned infractions. Russell Shepard mentioned being suspended for the first game because of like NCAA infractions, and Brad Wing talked about the penalty on the punt return. But it was a lot of fun. Thank y'all for setting that up, and I would imagine we got a big one coming up next week.
Yeah, got another one coming against Texas A&M. The thing about Brad and that play, I feel like it's one of those things. He didn't actually get the touchdown, but that play is the forever enshrined in LSU history as the longest penaltied play. I just think it's funny that it never actually counted as a touchdown.
It's his greatest memory, and it's a penalty on him for 15 yards taking a touchdown off the board.
Just a legendary play. But yes, we're doing it again for Texas A&M. As you've seen, we've done it for Florida, for South Carolina. We bring these guys back. They tell such great stories of their time. And not just the normal, like, oh, man, I remember when I rushed for this. It's like, oh, I remember when we did this on a Thursday night, or we had this practice, or this happened that nobody knew about. That's what makes Football Fridays fun, and we're going to do it big for Texas A&M. We're kind of rounding guys up that we think will be great entertainment for our guests, so we're hoping as many people as possible in there. We'd love to do a great showing. I think it's going to be a big event for Texas A&M.
Lunchtime on Fridays, Football Fridays at the Cook. We'll be there for LSU and Texas A&M next Friday. Colin Jeter from the Alumni Association, also with us every Tuesday. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
He is Colin Jeter. We'll come back. Here's some audio from Brian Kelly. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge, genesisofbatonrouge.com is that website. Maybe you're headed to Vanderbilt this weekend, going to make the drive up to Nashville and don't want to put those miles on your vehicle. Well, how about making sure you get behind the wheel of a rental from Genesis? That kills 2 birds with 1 stone. 1, you don't have to put those miles on your vehicle. 2, you get to feel what that Genesis experience looks like. You get to understand what driving that vehicle feels like. You get behind the wheel. I'm guessing most of you that are listening have never been behind the wheel of a Genesis. Make that change. If you're looking for a rental, whether it's for that fall beach vacation, headed to the family reunion, it's not too early. Start thinking about when you're driving for Thanksgiving or for the holidays. Genesis of Baton Rouge is happy to rent you a vehicle so that you can experience what it's like to drive their incredible line. And be sure, every single one is an IHA top safety pick, one of the safest cars on the road. Genesis of Baton Rouge, their airline in Pico, or online at genesisofbatonrouge.com, genesisofbatonrouge.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Saints with Sharief Ishaq coming here in 15 minutes. Curious what his optimism level is for the black and gold right now. Got a win against New York, came up a little bit short, but competitive with New England. Now headed on the road to play a Chicago team that got a great win last night on a little bit of a short week there up in Chicago. We'll talk to Sharief about all of it when we come back in 15 minutes. Let's talk some offensive line. Brian Kelly specifically talked about his offensive line at his Monday press conference yesterday. And the first thing he talked about was really the offensive line's ability to fire off the football and create some running lanes that added up to LSU running for 5.5 yards per carry.
Other things that really stood out after you watch film is that we ran off the ball for the first time with the offensive line. We got off the ball. Now, we got to sustain, and sustainability is will and want to, and we got to get more of that. I thought we did a great job in protecting our quarterback. No sacks against one of the elite pass rushers in Stewart in the league. He is an outstanding athlete, and I was proud of our guys in keeping our quarterback clean.
So I thought the offensive line did okay. Was Dylan Stewart back there causing some problems at times? Yeah, he was. Was it perfect? No, it wasn't. Were there some tackles for loss? Yeah. But I do agree that the offensive line took a step forward. It goes back to the first segment of the show today where I talked about the numbers behind the running game being encouraging. I thought that a lot of things that you just saw with your own eyes were encouraging with the offensive line. So what's the next step for this group? Brian Kelly talked about that.
We're at the point now where we can talk about sustaining blocks, which is simply a determination and a want to and a will. And we got to get to that, because if we sustain one or two blocks, well, we had 6 runs of 15 yards or more. That's a really good start. We could have had 3 or 4 that were of 50 or more. And we just need to sustain. I couldn't get to sustaining blocks if I couldn't get off the ball. Now we're getting off the ball. Now we got to sustain blocks. We got to hold on to those blocks. It can't just be contact and that's it, because those guys are folding back in and making plays. So we're at a next stage if we continue to do what we're doing, which puts us in a really good place.
I'll take his word for it. Look, this is not the show that you're going to listen to for a lot of film breakdown. Y'all are aware of that. I'll give you some Pro Football Focus grades. I'll give you a lot of numbers. I'll give you some opinion. I'm not going to break down a lot of left guard play. Not my corner of the store. Guys in the morning show are awesome at it. Absolutely. And you should listen to them. And you should read Matt Flynn's piece of LouisianaSports.net right now that breaks down film, because it's great. And I'll take Brian Kelly's word for it, because Brian Kelly has coached a lot of really good offensive lines and a lot of really good offensive linemen. I feel like, based on the numbers and what my eyes saw at the game, what he's saying makes sense. It makes sense when you tell me that strides were taken by the offensive line. So I'm with that, and hopefully that is the next step for this group of maybe sustaining blocks and creating longer runs, because you don't hit somebody and then allow them to shed and go make a play. Right tackle is a spot that a lot of people are talking about, and for good reason. Like, I write a Pro Football Focus piece every week, and no hyperbole, every week Weston Davis is on the lowest graded players. Now, to what degree Pro Football Focus is correct is up to Brad Davis, to you, the fan, if you want to interpret. Like, it is what it is. But a lot of people are talking about it. And I'll say this, like, I believe that Weston Davis has had his struggles, no question. I also think he had a really tough matchup on Saturday. Like, Dylan Stewart makes a lot of guys look bad. So the consensus, well, not the consensus, generally what I heard was, like, he had some really good reps against Dylan Stewart. He also got beat some by Dylan Stewart. But the question that was raised to Brian Kelly is, like, if you looked at putting Josh Thompson at right tackle, where he did play as a junior at Northwestern.
We did, but we're willing to live with some mistakes out at right tackle, because we think his future is so bright. So when you go into that whole process of thinking about it, do you thwart his growth of what he needs to see every day? He was really good against 6 and pass protection. Really good. That guy is outstanding. He's as good as I've seen. We've got to get him better in the run game. And that's where, at times, you want to put Josh out there. But we're going to live with him. And I'm proud of him. He's growing. He's learning this game. And that's a big part of this. O-line awareness, O-line instincts. Some have it, some don't. Some you got to really give them reps. And that's what this is about. He needs to play.
I'll make a bit of, this is going to be a stretch. I am upfront about this. This is a bit of a stretch, but I think it's relevant. If I put a cornerback out there that's 5'9" and runs a 4.58, I can't really have great expectations for that. If I put a post out there in SEC basketball that's 6'6", 225. Like, I got to have low expectations. If I put a Friday night starter out there that throws 84 miles an hour with no straight changeup, like, you're asking for it. Like, you're being unrealistic. Weston Davis is none of those things. Weston Davis is 6'7". He's got massively long arms. He's a high school basketball player. He can move. Like, he's got some tools, and he's got no experience. So it is a reasonable thought by that coaching staff to suggest this kid can get a lot better. Because the gifts are there. Now, he's got to do it. And I understand Brian Kelly saying we believe in this kid. He did a really good job in pass protection against Dylan Stewart. There were some times we wanted to put Josh Thompson out there at right tackle. I get all that. And you've got Carius Kern right there ready to back up, who's also got all those physical gifts and no experience. And I trust that they'll figure out what the best thing to do moving forward. But right now, they're going to go to Weston Davis. And if you're a fan and you're evaluating this going, man, I don't know about how that's going at right tackle, I get it. You're not wrong. But I would also say, looking at Brian Kelly and Brad Davis going, okay, like, they believe that there are some physical gifts here that could lead to a seismic improvement when something clicks. That story will be written. We'll figure it out. You're halfway through the season. You got one more bye week coming up. Maybe you want to play the next two with Weston Davis, and if it doesn't get significantly better, you make a move to a freshman. We'll see. That story's yet to be written, and I'm not here to make a prediction on that. But I'm just saying that, like, I understand where everybody's coming from. It's something to pay attention to moving forward for sure. Now, Cohen Eccles, another young player who they've played some at left guard. Paul Mavinga still banged up, did not play in this game. And if you've got Kern focusing more on right and left tackle than left guard, like, you've really got Chester as the swing and Eccles as a guy who's going to play a lot at left guard. And what did Brian Kelly see from Cohen Eccles?
Yeah, I thought he was really solid for us. You know, he gets off the ball, he gets hands on you, and he moves you. You get a dent, and he did a really, really good job. Now, he made some mistakes, but that's going to happen because he doesn't have a huge resume of work. But I liked his effort. It was really, really solid. Our guard and center play was the best it's been all year. And it happens in the triangle. That's where it has to happen. That group right there has got to get off the ball and get you some initial movement, and that's where we were better.
I believe him. The numbers bear that out. The numbers suggest that LSU blocked better and ran better than they have all year. And I think he's correct that the guys in the middle, Braylon Moore, Cohen Eccles, Josh Thompson, they had their best game. And you saw different looks. You saw some power. You saw the Wildcat run with Malachi Lane and Jack Pyburn back there. You saw Harlan Berry early in the game. Like, you saw some different looks. And you saw the offensive line start to move some people a little bit early in the game. Again, same thing as the first segment of the day. Was it dominant? No. Was it just unbelievably effective? No. Was it steady, solid, and an improvement? Absolutely. So hopefully it's something to build on. And you heard my take on it to start the show. You've now heard Brian Kelly's take on it here in the middle of the show. Like, hopefully that's something to move forward. Because we all still feel great about the defense, and the quarterback's play has not been good enough through 6 games. You know there's more in there. You know that he can be better. You just got to hope that as time goes by, the offensive line improves with the running game improving, and then the quarterback improves, and you've got a more functional offense. You hope you don't run out of time before that development can happen. You still have some. You're 5-1. That's an okay spot to be in. But you got to continue to get better, and Brian Kelly feels like his offensive line is doing just that. All right, Thursday show is brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties. He's a name you can trust. Look, spent 2 decades as a builder here in Baton Rouge. He knows what craftsmanship looks like. He knows where the great houses are. He knows what you should be looking for in a home that you purchase. So go ahead and contact my guy, Daryl May at Trusty Properties. He is a name you can trust. Let's take a time out. We'll come back, and we'll talk to our guy, Sharief Ishaq, next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Let's talk Highland Insurance Group. HighlandIG.com is that website. Highland Insurance Group, Jonathan Carbo and his team are phenomenal folks to work with in the insurance game. Storm season just about in the rearview mirror, but renewal season could be coming up here. So if you're looking to renew your commercial insurance program on 1/1, this is the time to look into that. You can make that happen with the folks at the Howard Insurance Group. They can audit your current policy. They'll tell you what you have, what you should have, what you don't have. You can determine what your appetite for risk is, and they will get you into the program for you commercially. That's their promise to you at the Howard Insurance Group. The time to look into your renewal is not 2 weeks out. You don't have enough time. It's now. So if you're a 1-1 and you're a CFO, risk manager, business owner, contact Jonathan Carver on the Howland Insurance Group and let them audit your policy for free. Most important thing you can do is make sure your insurance is right. And they will do that with keeping in mind that your premium is always very, very important, and the fact that they've got multiple markets to go to and approach with your line of work in mind suggests that they can help you out with that as well. It's the Howland Insurance Group. Find them online at highlandig.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Trustee Property is a name you can trust. Licensed realtor in Louisiana and Mississippi. Brings you our Tuesday shows. Sharief, Ishaq, always a part of those Tuesday shows, talking black and gold. Sharief, how are we doing?
I'm doing, okay, I guess.
Well, that's great to hear. I'm thrilled that you're doing okay. Let's talk about the Saints, who did not win on Sunday, but outside of the game in Seattle, which was just a grease fire with special teams disasters, they've shown some fight. Like, what do you think?
I mean, this is kind of what we thought it would be this season, competitive losses. And the plan's still in place, process, and then taking steps in the build process. I'm not sure if some of that stuff is in the right direction. But there are some good and there's a lot more bad. But this is as expected, huh? This is what we're going to see. A lot of competitive games. Might get 2 or 3 blowouts this year, but this is what they are, a 1-5 team, and this is what they're going to be this season.
As far as the quarterback goes, I think that's one of the things that a lot of people want to talk about. Like, how do you feel about Rattler?
I mean, this is it's like a social media burn down. No matter what side you're on, somebody's going to be mad. Look, I think he's good. But I think it's middle of the ground good. I mean, he's his ceiling. I mean, yeah, he's doing enough not to lose, but not doing enough to win more games. And that's not good in the NFL. Middle of the ground, today's NFL isn't going to get you where you're a franchise where it needs to be. No real mistakes. Good under pressure. Doesn't take many sacks, but, he doesn't really make enough plays down the field and the accuracy down the field. But intermediate routes, fine. Short routes, fine. And that's his completion percentage is high, 20 of 26 in that game. And that's, a lot of smart decisions down under and on checkdowns and intermediate routes. Had that one big play to start the game. But once again, they got to have more explosive plays from the quarterback down the field. And look, I get it. Olave dropped 3 passes. Juwan Johnson fumbled ball near midfield in the fourth quarter. A lot of things that went against Spencer. And I like Spencer. He's a real good guy. Really takes the blame when they have losses. Doesn't want to take any kind of credit when they win, which is like a good leadership role from your quarterback and what you want to see. But, you need more. You need more. And a lot of the fight on social media is if you say that he's not a franchise guy like Drake May is. Well, the guys are dropping balls. Guys are fumbling. It's always if this isn't going to happen. It's if. So everything has to be perfect. Great. If everything was perfect for me, I'd have a hairline and I'd be rich. That's just not how life works. You have to find a way to elevate on your own at times, even with some of the adversity. You have to learn how to fight the adversity as a quarterback. Drew Brees did it for a number of years on that terrible comparison, but every quarterback has to fight through adversity. You have to find a way to elevate yourself in the franchise. Not taking anything away from Spencer, because I think he's done a really good job.
So I certainly care what you have to say. That's the point of this talk show, to have an input. But how do you, going beyond how you feel, how do you think the team, the players, the coaches feel about Rattler right now?
They like him. Well, they like him a lot. Like I said, he's putting them he really is putting them in a spot to almost win every one of these games, with the exception of the Seattle game. And they're behind him and backing him, and he's doing enough to get them to that spot. But it's, it is what it is. He has to get them to that next level. But in terms of them, they like him. They love him. If they didn't, Kellen Moore would have put Tyler Sharief in by now, and he would have been playing, and he'd be the starter. But that's not the case, because I think that Spencer Rattler isn't doing anything to lose his job.
Do you feel like this is a negative place for the Saints to be in, where the quarterback's playing just good enough to stick around? Or do you feel like that maybe there's a chance he could get better, or are you just ready to see Shaq?
Look, this team isn't going anywhere. You use a second-round pick on Shaq. At some point, you have to see him, but you don't wait so long to see him, or you're going to be in the same situation as Spencer Rattler was in last year. We had no offensive line and no weapons, and it becomes such a hard thing to judge him on. So you are putting him in a bad situation, and you're putting yourself in a bad situation for drafting that guy if it doesn't work out. And everyone's going to be like, we told you so. Why'd you pick him at 40th? We told you in the first place not to draft Tyler Shaq. You should have used it on another position, or you should have drafted Jackson Dart in the first round. Like, everyone should have told you. You should have moved back and gotten Jackson Dart. So they're in a very weird situation here, because if he continues to play at this level and then they keep losing, what do? Do you tell Tyler you're going to start after the bye week if your team is 2-8 and he has no starters out there and he's getting clobbered? I mean, what happens? I mean, they're in a very tough predicament at this point, because this is where it's going to continue this way. This is just the season. The season's going to unfold with a bunch more losses.
You have a defensive take? How do you feel about the way the defense has played?
I am, so up and down on the defense.
Yeah.
It's like a roller coaster of emotions with this defense, man. I mean, they get torched in the first half for 3 touchdowns by Drake May. And let me say, Kayshon Boutte was lights out. He made some contested catches. Diggs made some catches. Like, a lot of those were some very good throws, but there were some contested catches. Like the touchdown by Boutte, the first one in the end zone, like he and Kool-Aid were wrestling for the ball. Good throw. Probably just stronger catch. There are times that first touchdown, an absolute blown assignment by Jonas Sanker. He just got beat. I mean, it's simple as that. He was just wide open. Like, there was no one near him. Douglas was just hanging around by himself. I mean, it happened twice, honestly. Luckily, they called pass interference on that second one, which was a phantom OPI. They had so many phantom OPI and DPI calls in that game, but that secondary, it got rough. But look, here's the thing: in the second half, they adjusted and they got much better. They only gave up a field goal. I mean, both defenses adjusted, and they only gave up field goals in the second half. And I'm so roller coaster with this defense. The problem, though, for me, the number one issue with this defense is the pass rush. It is not consistent. They're not getting to the quarterback enough. Drake May came into that game, sacked 17 times, the second most in the NFL behind Cam Ward. They only got him once.
Yeah.
And once is not a guy who's been sacked 17 times.
I would agree with that for sure. So it's just so hard. Like, I want to just go, okay, well, tell me about the Bears game. Like, how do you feel about the Bears game? But is that a relevant discussion to have? Like, do you want to talk about what goes on in the Bears game, or do you think it's all just big picture stuff?
To me, it's okay to talk about the Bears game. You want to make sure you are better than your ex. That's pretty much what this game is about. You want to make sure you are looking good for your ex. You're making sure you're letting the ex know that, hey, I'm in a good place. I look good. We're going to make sure to show you that we're better. We're better now without you. That's what this game is about. They want to try to punish Dennis Allen's defense. I mean, it's going to be tough. I mean, look, they did a pretty good job last night against Jaden Daniels. They forced that fumble late in the game. It's going to be tough going against Caleb Williams, another dual threat quarterback. I mean, this offense is going to have to do something, man. It has to wake up. I mean, it's bottom 5 in the NFL in scoring, around 18 points, a little bit more than 18 points a game. Dennis Allen's defense, at times they can disguise things and make life miserable for you. And he knows how to go against Spencer Rattler. He's going to know. He's going to know what to do. At this point, this game would be, if you can win it and go 3-14 or 4-13 and let that be one of your wins, it'd feel really good. It'd feel good for the entire city of New Orleans because of the frustration they had for Dennis Allen. And even the players in the locker room. Huh? There were a lot of players in the locker room who were frustrated with Dennis, including Kendre Miller being the number one player because he felt like he didn't get a good shape with Dennis Allen and he sat him out for all those games when he was ready to play, when he wasn't really that hurt. So there are a lot of players who are going to go to Chicago and want to beat Dennis Allen.
That's interesting. It's an interesting narrative for a team that's not the wins and losses aren't that interesting, but that certainly is one. How do you think it goes on Sunday then?
I think the Bears win that game. I think that they have found a way. I think that Johnson's found a way to get more out of that offense with Caleb Williams, and Dennis Allen's defense is starting to kind of see the light a bit, and they can do what they did on the road last night to Jaden Daniels. I think it's going to be tough for that Saints offense, and I think they win a game by like 7 to 10 points. I mean, I think they'll be competitive like this always is. They'll be competitive if they'll win by 7 or 10 points.
All right, he's Sharief Ishaq, WDSU 9 Sports down in New Orleans, talking all things black and gold. Thank you, sir.
All right, man. Hopefully the Pelicans can bring us some better news when we talk about them.
We will do that. The NBA cranking up this week, so we'll certainly do that with the Pels as we move forward. That's Sharief Ishaq down in New Orleans, WDSU. We'll come back, close things out. Tuesday edition of The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Tuesday show is always brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties. You're looking for an awesome condo in Pass Christian or Bay St. Louis? Daryl May of Trusty Properties can help you out with that. You looking for hunting property somewhere in Mississippi or in the Felicianas? Daryl May can help you with that. If you're looking for agricultural land or a place to build a second home, Daryl May of Trusty Properties can help you out with that. And if you're just looking to buy a home or sell a home in Baton Rouge, Daryl May, who has lived here his entire life, can help you with that. 20 years as a builder, now focusing on real estate. He knows where the listings are. He knows what the great construction is. He can help you buy or sell a home. It's Daryl May of Trusty Properties. He's a name you can trust.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trusty Properties.
Properties, Daryl May, Trusty Properties, bringing you our Tuesday shows each and every week. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Had a chance to get out and see about an hour and 15 minutes of LSU basketball practice yesterday. Just wanted to briefly kind of touch on that. Once again, as has been the case for 3 weeks now, you've been able to see Jalen Reed out there. He is going through everything that I saw yesterday. Did not sit out any drills. I didn't see any 5-on-5, but he was in every drill, full speed, full contact, did have the brace on his knee. I'm told that he will have that brace the whole season. So he's going to be playing with the brace, which, we'll see if and how much that limits him. Didn't look like it to me. Looks to be in good shape. Looks to be moving pretty well. Good to see the guys shooting the ball well yesterday. Was really impressed, obviously, with De'Don Thomas and his ability to shoot the ball. Max McKinnon, transferring from Portland, can really shoot it as well. You saw that. He was really knocking him down in a lot of uncontested settings, which, look, college basketball players make a lot of uncontested shots in practice. This just in. But he did a really good job there. I was also impressed with the ability of Rashad King to shoot the three. He's a 6'6" senior transfer that they got in from Northeastern, and he made some shots as well. I really like LSU's physicality in the front court. I mentioned Michael Nwoku, who is 6'10", 265. Then you've got Robert Miller, who's gained a little bit of weight. He's still skinny, but he is 6'10". He is 230 pounds, so he's put on some weight. Jalen Reed's 6'10", 245, which is good. Marquel Sutton is 6'9", 225 as well. He can go down there. I wouldn't count Matt Gilhool in that number at the moment. He's a freshman on this team that I don't expect to have a huge role in this team. He is 6'11", which is good, but he's listed at 213 pounds, and he looks it. He's still kind of figuring out how to play with that huge, long body. So he's a guy that's behind the rest of those guys, but you do have a front court that does have some physicality to it, some older players to it, which I think is good. And I like the way that they shot it Again, it's an hour and 15 minutes of a lot of 3-on-2s, 4-on-3s, individual shooting periods, defensive drills, that kind of stuff. I'm not here to give you 30 minutes on basketball practice yesterday, but I thought 120 seconds wasn't going to be too much for anybody. So I enjoyed going to see him, and I'm excited to get out there and play. They still got 4 weeks to practice, 3.5 weeks to practice for their first game. But I'm hopeful that this team can do some good things in the fall, set themselves up for a brutal conference run, and maybe win some games. So we'll see. I'm not going to put expectations too high on this team. I think they're better than last year, but they'll have to go prove it. So that's your LSU basketball minute here on this Tuesday. Let's play some Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. Everything you're looking for in a light beer. 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. Still a little bit warm out there, even though the mornings are cool, but it doesn't have to be hot to enjoy a nice cold light beer, and Yingling Flight can give you that. It's the next generation of light beer.
All right, first one here. The Bears, as Sharief and you talked about, are the next opponent for the Saints. The Bears have won their last 2 games by a score. Well,
okay.
I'm sorry, their last 2 games they've won by a score of 25-24. Exactly, both games.
Okay.
The Bears will beat the Saints 25-24. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave that. I feel like my odds are pretty good if I leave that. I feel pretty confident I can get home from that.
They probably would have been pretty good after the first game, too.
They would have been, for sure, and would have lost that. But yeah, tough loss for Jaden and the Commanders last night. I did not stay up for the end of it, but I saw the highlights of it, and that's a tough fumble, lose the gun on a field goal there. It's just, that's what the league is. It's just, but if you're not just atrocious, almost every game comes down to that. And it came on the other side for the Commanders, and you figured some of that might even out after they won almost all of them late last year. Including a Hail Mary against the Bears.
Yeah, and the game-winning kick by disgraced 49ers kicker, Jake Moody.
That's right, Moody.
You just never know how the kicking game is going to go, especially with guys in the NFL, just always moving around. Sometimes they do better other places. But next one here, Jerry Jones commenting on the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, they lost to the Panthers, who actually look a little bit better this year, surprisingly.
They do.
The fact that the Cowboys lost to the Panthers, not a great sight. Jerry Jones said, though, that since the Eagles only lead the division at 4-2 and have lost 2 straight, Commanders are 3-3. He said, quote, "It just reminded me that we are still in it. I see much parity, and that you factor in that these teams get compromised with injury, and we can have and may have to have it too. But if we should have some good go of it here over the next weeks ahead." By the way, his grammar is really bad, but without injury situation, return of injury, and we can get some wins, before adding he was encouraged by his team's prospects and said that maybe they'll be looking for some defensive players to trade for before the trade deadline. Jerry Jones saying they should make a trade for a defensive player. Take it or leave it.
I mean, sure, I'll take it. Their defense is awful. You're going to make a trade, but it's not like baseball where you can kind of transform the top end of your team at the trading deadline. You might be able to pick up a piece here or there. Every once in a while, Jalen Ramsey moves or something, but this is not like baseball, where in baseball you can go get an ace and can't go get a quarterback, can't go get 2 pass rushers and a safety. That's not how this works in the NFL. So I just think the Cowboys are bad, and they're usually not very good under Jerry Jones, and they now are the team in the NFC that has gone the longest without playing in the conference championship game. And for him to suggest that has nothing to do with him is humorous. But after watching that Cowboys documentary, I'm not surprised by anything that I hear, because really what you learn from that Cowboys documentary is that everybody involved in the Cowboys at that point was just trying to do the best thing for himself. And eventually that burned the whole thing down. It was really good, and it burned really hot, really fast, and then it was done. So that's just not surprising that Jerry's still hanging on, but it's not looking good currently.
It's not.
That's why they're paying the big bucks. Dynamite drop-in is what that suggested. Fast, fun show there on this Tuesday. Reminder, tonight, 8 o'clock, sports trivia back in action at Court to Table. If you have not been to Court to Table, come see us tonight. It is an incredible facility, great bar and restaurant. Play some cornhole, hang out outside. There's a great seating area and a pavilion out there. You can play pickleball as well. It's got great televisions. You can watch the football that's on tonight. You can watch the Major League Baseball that's on tonight, and you can play sports trivia with us and win gift cards. Very excited to get out to Court to Table for the first time. 8 o'clock. So get out there a few minutes before 8 o'clock. Have you out of there by 9:30, 9:40 on this Tuesday. If you missed any of the show today, you can catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Opened up talking about LSU's running game, put some numbers behind the improvement on Saturday. Kellen Moore's impressive Spencer Rattler. I talked about that. You can find that at Hunt on Saints. Glenn West with us at 1:30. Great job by the Falcons to give Greg Brooks an awesome experience there in Atlanta. Colin Jeter and Jeter and Sharief Ishaq with us in the second hour. We also heard some audio from Brian Kelly. So catch all that on demand wherever you find your sound. Matt's going to drive you home next on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place for a Wednesday edition. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com is the website. Looking to work on your golf game and just feel like the places that you try to go are not conducive to that. If you try to go to a driving range, the grass is dead, the balls are all scuffed up, it's 98 degrees. Soon it's going to get dark pretty quickly after work, and you just can't find the time to practice some golf. Well, how about Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge? You can go in one of their indoor hitting bays, work on the simulator. You can see your ball flight. You can see your carry distance. You can see your ball speed. You can see the impact of your club on the golf ball, and just work on your game in a controlled environment. That's part of the great piece to Swing Easy Golf Club. Also, if you want to grab a beer while you're doing that, you can do it. They're on Segan near Perkins. They got memberships available, both corporate and individual. Tell you all the time about socializing at Swing Easy Golf Club. How about working on your game? You can do it there. Swing Easy Golf Club, SwingEasyGCBR.com, SwingEasyGCBR.com.